Hi, welcome to Cozy Corner and Coping Strategies. My name is Rhonda O'Connor, and I will be talking to you about setup, the reasons behind Cozy Corner, and coping strategies you can use. Just a quick introduction of me. I have worked for StarNet for 6 years. Prior to that, I worked at a therapeutic day school teaching early childhood students with severe emotional and behavioral disorders. My family is the most important thing to me, and I love to travel, and I'm a big advocate for women's rights. Here are a couple of the Division of Early Childhood standards we address during this webinar. So let's dive into the why behind having a cozy corner in your classroom. And please remember, you don't need to name it Cozy Corner. I have heard calming corner, the Zen zone, the me zone, the safe space, the mindfulness area. You can call it whatever you would like, as long as kids know what it's called and that they understand it is a designated place where they can go when they need to calm down, de-stress, or regulate their emotions. The Cozy Corner can help children practice identifying feelings and emotions to better manage stress, helps them self-regulate and control their emotions in a safe area, and it can also be a calm environment for children who are emotionally distressed or just feeling overwhelmed by the demands of the classroom. Teaching children to soothe themselves by going to a cozy area can help them feel comforted and better able to cope. They also may benefit being by themselves while they adjust to events such as drop-off or overly noisy activities in the classroom such as movement time or music. View the area as a quiet, protected place where a child can choose to go if he or she becomes overwhelmed, upset, or angry. Teachers may encourage a child to go to this space, but it is vitally important that it is not used as a consequence or a timeout. Particularly in the beginning of introducing the Cozy Corner, staff can gently encourage children to use the space for comfort if needed, but the child must be able to make the choice to go there. You want the area to be a place where students want to go to calm down. Keep in mind, being upset or having a problem is not a crime. It's a fact of life. We all have them. And teaching how to deal with the situation is a life skill and not a punishment. So we need to teach them where to go and ways to do it and not make them feel badly about it. We validate their emotions and we teach them ways to regulate. Please remember that the quiet area is there to help eliminate visual and auditory stimulation. To this end, having your computer in the cozy corner is not a good idea. And please also remember, with Eckers, screen time is very limited, so you don't want to use all your screen time in the cozy corner. Children need to know how to use the cozy corner appropriately, so they need to be taught when to use it, how to use it, what can I do there, and how long can I stay there. In the beginning, when you first set up your cozy corner, everyone will want to go there and check it out. But as time progresses and it's not such a novelty anymore, only the kids who need it will use it, and they'll only use it when they actually do need it. I'll be repeating this several times because it is so important. We have to teach it. So you can start out in large group, show the actual area, and give the whys of using it. There is a great book called Sophie Gets Angry, Really, Really Angry, that talks about a little girl who gets mad and she goes up to a tree to calm down. This book is a great way to introduce an area you can go to calm down because we just happen to have one in our classroom. So explain the purpose of the cozy area. It's a place to go when you are feeling upset, when you're feeling overwhelmed, or maybe you just want to be alone. Role play how to go to the area. For example, do they need to ask or tell you? Do they need to do anything prior, like moving their name card? What do they do if someone's already there? Talk through what you are doing as you use the area. Moving the feeling charts, choosing an item from the Calm Down kit, looking at a book. Then return to large group and review what you did. I walked to the cozy area, I used the materials until I felt better, and I rejoined the group. Throughout the week, introduce one item from the cozy corner and show its use. Let the children handle the materials, ask questions, and talk about ways to appropriately use all the materials. In the beginning, you might even offer the items out at center time so that children can further explore. We want them to be able to independently use the cozy area, and the more familiar they are with all the aspects, the more independent they will be. It can be helpful to have the children help build the corner, make decorations, decide what stuffies or materials go in, and help set it up. It is also important to give verbal cues at the beginning to remind students that they can go to the safe space when they are upset. I might say something like, I see you have a frown on your face and you look sad. Do you want to go to the safe space to try and feel better? Or, I see your face is red and your body looks tight. Do you want to go to the safe space and try to calm down? If a student is having a tantrum or a meltdown and his or her body is not safe, such as throwing things, swinging their arms, kicking their feet, do not move the student to the safe place. They may be little, but they are oh so strong when they are upset. Move objects away that could hurt the struggling student or you. Move other students away and know that this is not the time for the cozy area. I was in a classroom where two little boys were arguing. One got very upset and came to his class teacher and said, I need to calm down. Now this little boy was about 3 years old. The teacher merely said, do you need the calm down area? He nodded, he walked over, sat in the chair, he chose a breathing exercise from the ones on the chart. He very angrily performed his breathing exercises, but then he calmed down, came back to the teacher and said, I'm better, and he rejoined the play. That is our goal, independent use and self-regulation. One of the first things I hear when talking about cozy areas is, my classroom is small, I don't have space. Please remember, the area does not have to be large, and in fact, can work better when it's smaller. We all know children like to smush into little areas. I was in one classroom where the cozy area was just about a foot wide space in between two filing cabinets that the teacher had put up social emotional posters. She had stuffies and pillows and a blanket in there, and the kids loved it. As long as you can see the children, they fit into the space, and it's a safe area, it can be as large or as small as you need it to be. The important things to remember are that you need enough softness, you should have social emotional tools, and most importantly, that all children know when to go there and what to do there. So look around your room for areas that are near quiet centers and see how you can work a cozy area in. Remember, according to Eckers 3, you should have a cozy area as an interest center and a privacy area somewhere else. The All About Eckers 3 book states, the constant pressure of sharing toys, space, and adult attention in a group setting is stressful for children. Being able to relax and feel protected from the intrusion or competition as children play alone or with a chosen friend helps them regain their place. Unlike adults, children can forget about the people and activity around them if no one bothers them or interrupts their play. Thus, a single child or pair of friends can experience a sense of privacy in a space that is in view and can be easily supervised by an adult, as long as adults and other children do not interrupt them. So a privacy area can be an easel set up for 1 or 2 people, a listening center, the sand table, or a small table with 2 chairs used for writing or drawing. The cozy area, on the other hand, is, according to Eckers, providing a substantial amount of softness in one place for the child to access. The soft furnishings in the cozy area must allow a child to completely escape the hardness of a typical early childhood classroom. So, one small soft thing in itself does not create a cozy area. Thus, a small padded chair, a small child-sized beanbag chair, a few small stuffed pillows, or a carpeted corner by themselves are not enough. However, a combination of such small furnishings gathered in an area would be acceptable. The Eckers books also state that the area must be protected from active play. A child who goes to the cozy area to calm down must not be constantly interrupted. Another reminder is that with Eckers, you have 5 required interest areas. The cozy area and the library are 2 of those. If you put your cozy area in the library, you are now turning them into play centers, and you will not get credit for those 2 different interest areas. And now we're going to go into what should you have in your cozy area? We want to include something from each of 4 categories: education, comfort, sensory input, and engagement. For education, things on how can I feel better? This might include a social story, a book about emotions, or coping strategies. Comfort, think softness, stuffies, a favorite toy, some pillows. Sensory input, think outside just the sense of touch. Use calm down jars that they can look at, clickers or fidgets that they can hear, sensory scent jars with lavender or calming scents they can smell, a weighted blanket or silly putty that gives them pressure. Engagement, make the area interesting. If your class is really into Lego, have a Lego calm down jar. Use Paw Patrol figures to show breathing exercises, or Minecraft to show solutions. You might put into place a calm down kit with sensory goodies such as squishy toys, sensory bottles, child-safe mirrors, deep breath chart, etc. Place a pillow, rug, or combination of beanbag chairs in the safe place. Just remember that when students are upset, they tend to cry, sneeze, and cough. So try to make sure as many items as possible in the safe place can be easily washed and cleaned. Personally, I stay away from things hanging from the ceiling for safety reasons, because when a student is upset, he or she may pull on it, pull it down, or wrap themselves in it. When a child is going to the calm down area because of an interaction with another student or staff, having the solution board there as a reminder that there are ways that they can solve the problem can be helpful. It is not necessarily there to solve the problem, but it's a reminder that there is a solution and that they've solved problems before. Have a variety of stuffies, again, hopefully ones that can be tossed into a washing machine, both for softness and for companionship. Your calm down corner should include coping strategies. These should be taught during calm times so that it is second nature for the child to be able to look at a visual and remember to do it. Everything that goes into the cozy area should be taught, modeled, and practiced first. We really want kids to feel safe, secure, and comfortable with all aspects of the corner. This is a great time as you introduced coping strategies to randomly stop class for just a second and say, everybody take a deep breath, or everybody do a finger pull. And remember, in the cozy area, some kids may need movement for self-regulation. So a wiggle cushion or a small rocking chair may help if you have a kid who needs that. Add some yoga poses on cards or a poster. Make sure you have a variety of modalities for a variety of emotions. Some kids will go there when they're angry, so they may pick up Tucker Turtle. Others may go when they're sad, so they might need a stuffy to hug and a book to look at. Still others may go just to get away from being overwhelmed in the classroom. Those kids might need a calm down drawer to look at or headphones to put on to block out even more sound. Having choices on the wall for the kid who's so overwhelmed and can't remember what to do is very helpful. Knowing your student is paramount to being able to keep the Cozy Corner relevant and engaging. You have a student who likes to draw out their feelings? Add some crayons, paper, or even an Etch-a-Sketch. A great idea is to encourage guardians and parents to create a cozy area at home. Share the idea with them and maybe a picture of what yours looks like at school. This helps to reinforce the skills children are learning in your classroom, and it helps parents to partner with you to help their child become successful. Give them some basic ideas as what to put in there. Maybe share a social story or a Tucker the Turtle craft to get them started. An at-home calm down corner might be as simple as a space with a soft mat and a bucket of books, or as elaborate as a fancy fort with colorful art on the walls and basketfuls of sensory activities. And remind them, it doesn't have to be a corner. The key is to find what helps your child feel calm and balanced again in a space that's removed from the chaos and the noise of the rest of the household. So now we're going to take a look at some examples of cozy areas. The one with the rainbow is an at-school area. The one by the stairs is a home area. Look at both and remember what we talked about. What do you think works here? What doesn't work? How would you change it? And remember, each area should have something from each of 4 categories: education, comfort, sensory input, and engagement. Does it look like there's enough softness present? Do we see any social emotional tools? Think about these things. And again, look at these cozy areas and think about what works, what doesn't, what would you change? Do they have each of the 4 categories of education, comfort, sensory, and engagement? A comment: you don't want it to be too busy with too many posters, and everything that they use should be at children's eye levels. If it's too high, they're not going to look at it. And if there's too many, they're going to ignore it. And here are some more. I'm going to help with the critique this time. When I look at the calm down corner, there is definitely not enough softness there. It is also right by the door, and so children who are going there already upset, that makes it really easy for them to see escape from the classroom as an option. The telephone on the wall might be much too enticing for children who are sitting there. I do see some stuffies in a basket on top of the shelving unit. I don't know that that is close enough. The one on the right is soft. There are materials, there are stuffies, but when I look at this, I see that the visuals are too high. They need to be lowered to the children's eye level. Once again, here's 2 calming corners. I love the color teal and black, but this area actually seems like it's in the library. What I might do here is turn that shelf to make it a less open space. I would also add the social emotional breathing exercises and reminders, and some stuffies, some comfort things. I would also add fidgets. I love the idea that the one on the right, she calls it Hawaii. So the children aren't going to the Cozy Corner, they're going to Hawaii. And she has her rules for Hawaii posted. And again, remember, you can call it whatever you would like, as long as the children understand it. I don't think there's quite enough softness in this one. I see some stuffies, but it's just a single beanbag. And if you remember, Ecker said one single beanbag does not make it enough. In this one, we would have to add some more, maybe some pillows, maybe an additional beanbag, a blanket, some more things to add softness to this area. All right, so now that we have your cozy area set up, now we need to add some coping strategies that they can do while they're there. Remember, we want to use different modalities, not just breathing strategies. So coping commonly refers to a person's effort to regulate emotions, cognitions, physiology, behavior, and situations in reaction to stressful events or challenging circumstances. In other words, coping is anything that a person does in an attempt to manage stress. During stressful situations, coping skills can help to diffuse or turn down the volume of intense emotion, allowing for increased control over that person's response to the situation. Coping skills for children generally serve a variety of purposes. Self-soothing, so we're engaging the body's natural calming system. A distraction, we're redirecting to more pleasurable activities to decrease the intensity of emotion. Opposite action, we're providing activities that generate an emotion or an experience counter to the distressing one. Emotional awareness, activities that promote emotional exploration and increase self-awareness. And then mindfulness, focuses on being grounded in the present. If you look at this chart, there are 5 different subsections on how we can cope, different ways to be active. How do we find our calm? How can we get creative, connect with others, or shift that mindset? We want to make sure we provide a variety because not all children will respond to the same strategies. And what works for Johnny day one may not work for Johnny in a different situation. So we start with breathing exercises. Breathing coping strategies are one of the easiest because they are transportable and you can do them anywhere. The more fun you make them, the better children will remember, and eventually they'll use them on their own. We have to practice, practice, practice. This is another one that you just stop the classroom really quick and say, everyone take a dragon breath. They do it, and within 30 seconds, they're back to playing. But we've got that practice in so that when they are starting to escalate or get upset, we can just say, want to try a dragon breath? Or even better, show a visual so you don't have to say anything at all. One of the most common breathing strategies I've seen is smell the flower, blow out the candle. There are variations. I've seen pinwheels with an artificial flower attached so that children have a concrete way of smelling the flower, and then they blow on the pinwheel and watch it spin. With crocodile breathing, we are incorporating some physical activity because as they breathe in, they open their hands, and as they breathe out, they close them, similar to a crocodile snapping his snout shut. Because our students are so young, we want to make sure we offer some fun ways to do it instead of just breathe in and breathe out. Some really fun ones, such as this snake breath, are from Yoga Pretzel Cards by Tara Goober. This is a set of cards that have not just breathing, but yoga poses that work on flexibility, strength, rest, and balance. We used them so often in my classroom that I had to get another set. The 5-count breathing is another way that you incorporate breathing with a physical motion. In the beginning, you can have the card out and they trace their finger along each part of the star as they breathe in and out. As children become very comfortable with it, you can just have them trace the shape of a star on their arm. One of my particular favorites is the 5-4-3-2-1 method, because this can be incorporated as a child is starting to escalate to bring them back down. Focus on 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. You can put pictures with a number 5 in an eyeball, a number 4 in a hand, a number 3 in an ear, and so on, so that there's no reading involved. It's all very simple to remember. And again, to incorporate some physical coping skills, we have the first picture where you sit up straight, breathe in as you lift up your arms, and then lower your arms as you breathe out. In the middle, we have finger pulls, which was a favorite in my classroom. This comes from BrainWorks at sensationalbrain.com. They do charge for their resources, but they do have a wonderful variety. Finally, the physical coping skills is a resource from Counselor Chelsea, which is www.counselorchelsea.com. And for those kids who really need an alternative to being physically aggressive, these are some great ideas. I had a student who would rip paper into a cup. That's all he did when he went there. So we gave him one specific size of paper and cup, and he stayed in the center until he was finished ripping up that paper, and then he was always ready to come back. This resource comes from Crayons and Compliance, and it just gives a multitude of ideas of coping skills. I would never have this out as part of the cozy area because there are way too many on this page, but it can be helpful both for you as you're trying different coping strategies for children to see which one will stick. And I've also used lists similar to this, but smaller for the student. Remember, every child will not respond the same, so it's super important to offer more than one modality. So this was in our cozy area, and the brain picture was on a piece of Velcro. So a child would go to our cozy area and they would try to calm down, and if it just wasn't working, they could bring this little brain picture over to a staff member, and then we knew that they needed a little bit more support. So we would practice a brain break. This is one that I used in my classroom, but you can make your own with any different thing. When a child brought us the little brain picture, we would roll some brain breaks. We would invite anybody in the classroom who wanted to participate, and the child would roll a dice to pick the number and then pick a color, and that's what we would do. This one is all physical activities, but we did have modified ones for kids who needed specific things. And we had one that was specifically for breathing. Normally we didn't have time to do a whole row. We would just do whatever color. So if I rolled a 3 and I chose yellow, everybody would make 10 small circles with their arms. So keep in mind when you are setting up your cozy area and you are thinking of your coping strategies, education, comfort, sensory input and engagement, and a variety of modalities. This picture comes from wholeheartedschoolcounseling.com, and they do have a free resource library. I would like to thank you all for listening, and if you have any questions, you can find me at swconnor@swccase.org. Good luck setting up your Cozy Corner.